Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The World Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Let's make some noise, everybody. Clap it up, get excited, wherever you are, in your car, on your job, at your home, wherever you may be. This is the hottest place to be as we're covering the world of boxing and beyond, going through the ethos of the fight game and the wider sports landscape. And we got a bunch of stuff to talk about on this weekend. It's fight week, y'all. A couple of fights happening this week and next week, the biggest of which being Errol Spence Jr. versus Tim Tszyu in the Big Fish's comeback trail to try to climb the top of the mountain once again in the boxing globe. Anthony Joshua versus Paringa is a fight that is also on the lineup. I believe it's this week, but in the coming weeks that we also got to be able to talk about as the road to Fury versus AJ still comes forward as well. We've had some jabs, Ryan Garcia and Conor Ben going back and forth against each other in what is looking to be one of the most, hyped up and talked up type of fights with the way these two are just going at each other, drawing left, right, and center. All of that and so much more we're going to be discussing with you all on our show today. We appreciate you being here on the live. We thank you for joining in and tuning in with us on this Tuesday afternoon. Hopefully we're going to make your day a little bit brighter, a little bit better, a little bit more sunny, and a little bit more entertaining as we take you through the rest of your day. And if you please would be so kind, if you haven't already, go ahead and come through and subscribe to the channel. That's right. Come be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe, right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Apple, Spotify, you name it, we are there. You can rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. Helps us to go and reach those platforms and to grow all across the globe. Also, be sure to hit the like on the video. One like makes a world of difference to help this channel to be able to grow, shine, and flourish, and to turn into an incredible community. One like helps to push this channel to the algorithms all across the nation and the world. And hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube, so you never miss a time that we're up here on the show, being with you all, talking about the world of boxing and beyond. And if you want to support this channel monetarily, hey, we got to pay some bills around here. And we're like PBS, we can't do this without you. And if you would be so kind, if you can afford to, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, super gifts, super thanks, stickers, and the like, all of which you can give through in the chat, I believe in the chat box down below, wherever you're watching on your phone. It helps us to go and pay the bills and make this show better for you all to witness and enjoy, whether you're listening or watching around the globe. And please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together and flourishing and shining and growing this into an incredible community, all with you at the helm, helping us to be the best that we can be. But look, we got a whole bunch of stuff to discuss in the world of boxing and beyond. We got a lot of topics and a lot of things to delve into, and we got fights that we need to break down. So without further ado, we got boxing to cover, we got sports to delve into, I got my coffee ready, and hopefully you brought your energy to the table. So it's time for us to do what we do best. It's time to talk boxing and sports, and it's time to step into the ring. Oh, let's go. It's time to work. Let's get it started. Ring the bell. It's time to shine as we start this show on today. In the first topic of discussion, as we go and transition into the topics of our show, it will be the first of which being Errol Spence versus Tim Tszyu is now going down. We're less than 7 days away from the big fish in boxing making his valiant return to the world of the ring and the squared circle. Yes, indeed, we have been waiting and anticipating, and some people have even doubted the likelihood that we would even see Errol Spence ever step back into the boxing world, and now we can finally say we can put those worries to rest, because he is here potentially for the final time, trying to get one last comeback road in his potential last championship opportunity, if that is what he is trying to achieve. And again, it's him versus Tim Tszyu at a weight of 160, which was previously, it was going to be at 154. We had said it was going to be at 154 And we were trying to figure out how would he look, and then all of a sudden it gets changed up to 158, and then now it just says, hey, we got to go to 160. We were all speculating as to why that was the case, that he went to go and fight at 160 against Tim Tszyu instead of just straight up going and fighting down at 154. But he clears up the whole noise as to why he made this decision. I'm about to go play that clip right now, and in the world of picture-in-picture real quick, so you can see exactly what he said, because this was the big talking point, because we were saying this might lead to a lack of discipline. We were saying this could lead to a sense of his body just ain't ready to come back to the ring in ways that he thought it would be. You can't just write yourself off the bed, get yourself back, and all of a sudden now everything is well and good. You're hunky-dory and no qualms at all. He's been said publicly. He said on public occasions, or many occasions publicly, excuse me. We've had a whole bunch of training where all of a sudden I'm feeling things I ain't never felt before. I'm experiencing something. I'm like, oh, it wasn't like this when I remember. And now, ooh, maybe we can have some concern as fans. But I think he put it to rest, at least in his own mind, as to why he moved his fight up to 160. And I'll let him play it for you as we transition up into the world of picture-in-picture. Just to make sure we can... I'm trying to make sure everything ain't muted. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Errol Spence about why he moved to 160 in an interview with Sean Porter.
Quick to the weight. There's been a lot of rumblings, the increase to the weight and all that kind of stuff. From your perspective, let everybody know, like, where we at with that. Like, was that something that along the way you realized that I can't get to 154? What, like, what? It's a lot, So I just want to, kind of clear the air from your standpoint. You know what I mean?
Really nothing to clear. Like, I didn't feel like getting down to 158 pounds.
See, okay, thank you. Thank you. At the end of the day.
So I told her 160, like, bro, I like 160 the weight class, bro. Like, why y'all doing that 158? Why y'all doing that 158? Because y'all think that because I'm a smaller guy coming at 147, I like, just have it at 160, bro. Like, it can be simple. That's the weight class anyway. 158 is not a weight class to catch weight.
You hear the increases and everybody's thinking that there's a struggle, right?
Yeah,
so you just answered it. Like, there's no.
It is what it is. They can think what they want to think. Sunday they'll see something different.
Again, in Errol Spence's own words, we only did this because 158 ain't an actual weight. And we might as well move it to 160. If this is the road that we're going down, ain't no point in trying to do this as a catchweight. Just move up. My body ain't the struggle or the reason why this is happening. It's just straight up. We just wanted it at 160, so we made that decision. So in his words, that's why the public maybe should not be so jumpy in the concern that we may have that his body may not be up to par. And the mentality that he's had in this fight is incredibly focused in, specifically with the stuff that we've heard Tim Tszyu say to him in light of getting this fight going down. Errol Spence all of a sudden has got a chip on his shoulder, more than just I want to win a fight, more than just I got a lot of comeback that I want to try to do, more than just I want to try to achieve my shot at one more road at a potential championship opportunity. He's got some bad blood with Tim Tszyu, specifically because Tim Tszyu saying I'm going to take your eyesight, I'm going to end your career, and doing all the things that, hey, you know what I've been through, you know what I've had to struggle with, and now you're trying to say you're going to ruin me forever. All of a sudden, we're seeing the Errol Spence that's like, hey, this ain't going to be what you think it is, and I'll let him tell you exactly the qualms that he's had with Tim Tszyu that's turned this fight into more than just a regular comeback event. It's turned into some legitimate bad blood between him and Tim Tszyu. Just trying to make sure you walking. I got to make sure. Okay, there we go. Yep, here we go.
What are you going to do if he tries to shake your hand?
I'm not going to do nothing. Tszyu got a tango and hold his hand out. So if he try to, I don't think he's going to do it. He's not going to do it. He knows he ain't going to do it.
Why is it so personal with you two?
It's not personal. It's just, man, we're going to fight. And like I understand him trying to be a quote unquote gentleman, but that's not the facts because like he done said stuff about him, taking my eye and breaking it and all this type of stuff, saying this, and then you want to shake my hand. It was like you trying to take my eyesight, but now you want to shake my hands and be friends or whatever. Like I don't want to shake your hand. Like you saying all this type of stuff about me. You gonna do this? You gonna do that? Okay, you gonna beat me like Fundora did Keith Thurman, and you gonna retire me and all this and that. Like I'm not trying to shake your hand, bro. Like you said what you said, now stand on it.
I told people the question that was presented to me is this mind games coming from Errol. I said Errol's not really the mind game kind of guy.
Yeah.
Is it mind games or is it like?
There's no mind game. I don't play mind games. Bro. I don't play no mind games. Like it's how I feel. Like I don't want to shake your hand, bro.
Just keep the same energy.
Before, yeah. Like, I don't want to shake your hand, bro. It's just what it is. There's no mind game. I don't play mind games. I'm not gonna shake your hand, bro.
Even after the fight, I saw that too. You're like, I ain't shaking it after the fight either.
Yeah, like you said what you said, bro. I don't really care for him like that.
This is the thought process of Errol Spence going into this fight, and this leads me to see that this fight in and of itself could be an incredibly damaging affair on both ends of the spectrum, but specifically with the game plan in mind for Errol Spence. He's coming in with a purpose, not just to shut him up, but to shut him down. In terms of shutting up and shutting down Tim Tszyu, because now this is the first time that all the rhetoric, all the noise about Errol Spence being a shot fighter, being somebody who he is over the hill, being somebody who is gone and is damaged goods, quote unquote, now in a active fight scenario is actually against him. He's hearing all this noise, and now from the other fighter across the ring, which he is more accomplished in terms of Tim Tszyu, now being used as, oh, y'all think this is ammo against me, because all of a sudden I'm the guy that's that is the damaged goods in the product of the store. I'm the dog with the hurt leg. Now y'all think y'all just jump and pounce and it's gonna be well and good, and now just put me out of my misery. I don't think we've ever seen Errol Spence in this type of light before in the boxing world. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, and if so, please do. I don't think we've ever seen, or Errol Spence has ever experienced, this type of situation. We're going into a fight. He is somebody that is underappreciated, undervalued, more importantly, undercut in the favoritism of the fans. People don't think he can win as much as they should. They want him to win. It's not the same level of concrete. Yeah, he's going to get him out of there. He's going to do what he needs to do. He's going to get the job done, and everybody's going to see the big fish back in the pond. It ain't that same level of confidence in the wider public. Even now, as a favorite against Tim Tszyu in terms of the betting odds, yes, that is true. He is currently, what is it, like 140? Favorite minus 140 in this fight. Again, I'm just giving you the numbers. I'm not saying bet. I'm just giving you the numbers as to what's going down. He is on the money line. Yes, he's a favorite for the people. Absolutely. Also, that equates to the fans wanting to back him. That is a legitimate thing, because most people watching this whole situation would be fair to say, hey, we don't think we should expect Errol Spence to all of a sudden be right as rain like he never left coming back. Am I wrong? I don't think so. It's from the standpoint of the likelihood of what we can experience when we're watching Tim Tszyu and Errol Spence fight against each other. There isn't the same level of concrete. I know what I'm getting from Errol Spence Jr. Even though people want to believe, and they do want to believe, I'm picking him to win because I believe he can win. I believe that Errol Spence can be the man that we've seen, at least in some capacity, before. I believe there could be enough in Errol Spence to be able to have himself right the ship one more time. Yes, but am I confident? I'm not entirely sure. I'm more 50-50. I'm prepping myself crazy enough for the worst. And that sounds bad. I know, but I'm not trying to make this like a doom and gloom situation. But we keep it real here on this show. I'm keeping it real right now. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with an Errol Spence that went in this fight with Tim Tszyu. Errol Spence Jr. may be the favorite amongst the fan love. But in terms of boxing ability at this current state, there's a lot of questions that if you don't pick him as a favorite, it's understandable. And there's a 50-50 shot that we could see this man go down in a blaze of glory in the worst way possible. And that's not me wanting to see it. That's the reality of what we're experiencing. That's the reality of his own words, talking about what training camp has been like, talking about what training camp has been for himself from what he remembered, talking about getting back into this mode of being a full-time boxer committed to this game. There's some stuff that was like, oh, some of the joints ain't doing what they used to do. I'm creaking and making noise in spots where I'm like, wait a minute. Everything ain't nearly as fluid. There's some rust that I actively am experiencing. Like we said, it used to be we had this, but
and he floats like a butterfly and hits like a tree.
now, granted, he wasn't floating, moving around the ring. But in terms of knowing what Errol Spence was, we were having that type of sentiment. Hey, this brother, he hits like a tree and he's gonna keep on moving forward without a doubt. You can't rock him. You can't push him. He's an immovable object. In fact, he's a juggernaut. Once he starts going forward, there's no stopping Errol Spence. The big fish is going to eat whenever because he can move and swim with the greatest of ease against anybody. An indomitable force. That has been the identity. Now the identity was cracked by Errol Spence, or rather beaten by Errol Spence. He still was that. He was just that and got beat. Now going up against Tim Tszyu is the armor back on the body of Errol, and it's the fluidity and more than just muscle memory. Or is it, this is me? And if he's like that, yeah, he can beat Tim Tszyu, but if not, I'm scared. I really am scared that we can see this brother come back and it's a dire situation. Simply because of activity. And yeah, is he a better fighter than Tim Tszyu in his prime? Absolutely. Without question. I don't think anybody would debate that. Greater fighter and better as a talent. It's just right now, it's a very unknown situation. And even with that, we've been able to see him in sparring, in training, working on the back and getting an opportunity to see exactly what he looks like in the ring. And for those that may have some qualms about what we had said the first time we watched him, this may put some of those qualms to bed, and mine included. Because all of a sudden, though I may have some doubt, there is at least some hope that what we see from Errol Spence in the ring might just be something worthwhile. And I'll let him play it. I'll play it for you right now to see what he looks like inside of the gym. And this was him working on the jab, working on the timing, and working on the rhythm of his boxing, specifically with the fundamentals of establishing essentially his spear of a jab. And then ultimately, this is the other clip of him moving, working, and operating in more technical affairs, working with his coach as he is training to get back in his prime, or getting back to form with Ronnie Shields. Now, as this is going through, I'm gonna play the clips while I'm talking, but so you can kind of see what exactly we're experiencing. But this is hope, regardless of what I said previously. These clips that we're watching now, this is some hope. It is. It is. It's some hope, because remember what he looked like when we were first watching him get in the ring. Remember, if you remember what he, in fact, I might actually be able to find it if I can if you give me a second, I might be able to actually find the clips of him sparring
There's a million
early. Well, you know what? I'll do this off screen because it's going to be a hot minute because it's pretty far down there in terms of trying to find the clips. But if we remember, when Errol Spence was first training, getting back in the ring, working with Ronnie Shields in that gym, the more basic version of the gym that he's in right now down in Australia, we were all saying, "Oh no." Everybody was petrified. I mean, everybody was absolutely scared. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was just, we were saying this cat was slow. We were saying this brother was off balance. We were saying this man was out of rhythm. We were saying this cat had no sense of former aura and glory from the way he was throwing his punches. Everything, even if we were saying he was just going through the motions, it looked very uncomfortable. It looked incredibly more than just ring rust. This man looked like he just lost a part of his ability to fight. Like we knew, the same timing, the same feel, the same everything about Errol Spence that we had seen, we were saying he ain't got it at all, even in the basic sense of what we were seeing him work on in the gym. That versus what we see right now is night and day. That's a fact. That's for real. Also, we got people in the chat. Like with Love King, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for showing up and showing out on our show. We appreciate you joining in on our live stream today. I'm about to, let me go back and find the clips of where's it? Gotta make sure we keep. There we go. Just gotta make sure we keep it playing while we are talking with you. How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our stream today. Errol looked sharp. I think he KOs him. And look right now with what we're experiencing. Oh, excuse me. You saying he looked sharp and he'll KO Tim. Great. Because this is what we wanted to see initially. And this looks more like an Errol Spence that is prime or closer to form that we expected. A lot bouncy, mind you, this ain't sped up or this ain't nothing like that. A lot sharper, a lot more confident and balanced in his ability to throw shots in combinations. The jab looks like it's more comfortable popping out. As a southpaw, we're seeing that right hand be able to have a lot more snap and a lot more technical efficiency. And again, small clips, short clips. This isn't everything about what we're seeing with Errol Spence in the gym. I'm just telling you, we're seeing him get back comfortable again. This is a good sign. This is a great sign. And this is a perfect sign because if this is where Errol Spence can if he can get to simply 60% of what he was when he was fighting actively. More like 70. 70% of what he was when he fought actively in the ring. He can beat Tim Tszyu. He can. If he just gets to 70% of what he was when he was before his first stint at retirement, he would be able to beat Tim Tszyu. And this is looking like it is getting to that point. By the time we get him in the ring, perfect. And the biggest thing that you need to understand, we want to see this fight because this is going to answer the exact question that we had about Errol Spence when he lost to Terrence Crawford, which was, if he got up in weight out of 147, would he be a better physical force than what we had seen at welterweight? And now at 160, it's going to be the truest test of, okay, what is your body like if we let you feel yourself out fully? And we've been saying if he got bigger, he'll be more destructive. We're going to find out whether that sentiment was true or not. It's going to be on this weekend against Tim Tszyu at 160. Mind you, he requested this. So, if that adds to the compounding nature of what we see him getting back to as a fighter, that could help immensely in the ability to be close to the same level of destructive force that we had seen in the past going into this fight with Tim Tszyu. And potentially still getting the career of him back on, even more than back on track, getting the career of Tim Tszyu, or rather of Errol Spence, off and running on a hot jolt in the second stint. Absolutely, it could be great. But let me keep on reading you all's chats and responses. Also, please, if you would, keep on chatting on the live stream. Keep on giving your thoughts and opinions. We want to hear from you in all regards of the world of boxing and beyond. But let me keep on reading your thoughts. As we got MS, how you doing? Salute to you. Good to see you. We thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our show. If Errol fights with just a tad bit of heart, he can win this fight. But if he loses, he may not have heart left in the sport. That's true. That's true. Or I would phrase it a different way. Errol Spence has never lacked heart. I would never say that. He's always had heart. But his heart being in boxing, yeah, it could be gone. Or rather, he's satisfied. Because that's been the whole thing with Errol Spence Jr. I'm satisfied with what I've done. I've gotten comfortable with not being in the ring. I like the life I had outside of boxing. We appreciate it. We love it. We want that to happen. And we want Errol Spence to be able to be comfortable and enjoy life with all the fruits of his labor still able to be tasted. We appreciate that. And if this is the last hurrah, if he loses, credit to him. So be it. Thank you for coming. We appreciate everything you did. We do. The only problem is, just like we've asked with Tyson Fury, and just like we've asked with other boxers who are in the sport, you can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out and expect to have the ability to be the best that you can be. And you can't expect not to give your all mentally and think everything will just come out fine. And it could be, like we said all the time, if you're 1 foot in the grave, the other foot might as well jump in. Because you cannot cheat this sport, or else it will take everything from you. We have been saying with Errol Spence Jr., the biggest concern with all of this, forget the ring rust, forget the comfortability of being in the ring and getting back in shape. It's been strictly, brother, is your heart in the game to be able to be what you need to be? Can you still switch into that mode of being a killer when you step back in between those ropes? Can you still, again, this ain't Tim Tszyu, this isn't Keith Thurman against Jarvis. This is Errol Spence against Tim Tszyu, a fighter who even at this degraded state in his career, still, Tim Tszyu was a brother, you can't not bring focused A-game to the table, or else you can get knocked out with one shot. And you can get beat up for real. Tim Tszyu ain't the greatest brother out there, but he sure enough got one thing. This man can swat, and if you want to go war to war, he will gladly do that and be equipped mentally to handle that type of pressure. I'm all in this fight. Are you in that same way, especially when it's going to come down to, it's going to be your game. It's going to be your game. If you're Errol Spence, it's going to be your game. Your perfect game plan of everything you like, head to head. You ain't got to find them. You ain't got to go and worry about somebody switching orthodox and southpaw. You don't have to worry about somebody trying to go and use the ropes all the time. You don't got to worry about a bouncer who can jump around the ring. You just got to worry about being able to beat him on the inside, exactly where you thrive. And in a war of attrition, you got to be able to outwork and outgrit your opponent. You've done that every time in your career except for Terrence Crawford, and now you're going up against somebody who that is his MO as well. This is your wheelhouse. If there was any fight to test every makeup of Errol Spence as a fighter at this stage, to truly see where he's at, it's this one. Because you couldn't ask for a better matchup to accentuate the best attributes of Errol Spence to see if this brother still got some sharpness on his knife, or if he's dulled out to the point he don't need to be used anymore. That's the truth. And we want to see him succeed. But he also has been so concerning in the public eye, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We don't know whether or not we can really trust him, or rather we don't know if we'll see him, hold that same mental grit when the body and the mind got to work as one in a war. We know you still want to be about that life, but you've been saying all the time, I don't remember it being like this at every step of the way. You've been working in training. Aches and pains I ain't heard before. New feelings I ain't felt before. Pain in places I didn't even know I had places. You've been saying everything at this point in time is a relearning experience. That also can equate to inside the ring, relearning the art of war when it comes down to biting down on your mouth guard and being able to outwork and outgrit and outheart somebody. Taking somebody's soul in the perspective of taking their will. That is what Errol Spence always did better than nearly everybody. Bludgeoning force, bludgeoning power. But if he does not have that, and he can't get back to that mentality, there can be a real concern in this fight that he could lose. Because all of a sudden, he doesn't remember this type of firefight, this type of war of attrition, feeling the way that it would feel against Tim Tszyu, because he's been out the ring so long. The identity's still there, but you didn't have to access it. And now that you got to access it again, oh, I forgot it was like this. Am I really built to fight like this anymore? Mentally, not just physically. And we're going to find out. We're going to find out, but those are the questions that come into play. Let me see. PT Lit, what's going on with you? How you doing? We appreciate you on the show. Salute to you and everybody in chat. Please, if you would, leave a like on the video. Keep on subscribing to the channel. And please, if you can, share the show with everybody that you know. We want to hear your thoughts and conversations. We want to hear your opinions on everything involving the world of boxing. We still got Devin Haney and Keyshawn Davis, that whole Perseverance situation. We got to discuss Anthony Joshua and Paringa. All this and more we got to talk about on the night tonight. And so we want to hear your thoughts and opinions. But let me see. Spence will win by KO in round 7, then retire. Now, see, I don't know about that in terms of if he wins, he'll retire. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Hey, look at us. We got the problems.
I don't think so.
We got the problems.
And listen to this very carefully. Errol Spence is one loss away from wanting, most likely, to retire. He's one loss away from wanting to retire. I can almost assure you, if he loses against Tim Tszyu, he's done. But if he wins against Tim Tszyu, especially at 160, and he says, I feel good doing it, all of a sudden, guess what? Not only is he staying around, the hope for a championship comes back around. In his mind, oh, it's real. And so because of that, guess what? I want to stay. Yeah, I want to stay. I want to be here. I want to see what's going to happen because I got more juice in the tank. We thought Manny Pacquiao would retire after he lost to Ugas, and he did. Then he came back. He fought against Mario Barrios. Anybody got a draw, didn't win or lose. And guess what? He is still actively in a fight right now, or actively looking for fights right now in the professional ranks. Even is in talks to potentially have a fight with Gervonta Davis, which, again, would be ridiculous because Tank would never come up to above 135. And if he did, he could have been fighting Devin Haney right now already. That's a whole nother can of worms. Regardless of which, that fight is on the table because Manny Pacquiao says there's some hope. All Errol Spence needs is an inkling of success. That's it. That is it. Let this work with Ronnie Shields and let him get a knockout win in the 7th, like you say, or in any round against the likes of Tim Tszyu. And all of a sudden, not only will he be saying he wants to say, we'll be saying we want him to stay. Because guess what that means? Now, Laura Spence, championship fight at 160, that's a possibility. Yeah, that can happen. A title fight for a championship, or a title fight at 160 pounds, potentially against the only other well-known 160-pounder in the globe in terms of wide recognition and reigning over the division, Arizona Lara. It's there. It is absolutely there. And you couldn't tell me that fight wouldn't be made. You couldn't tell me if he knocks out Errol Spence, Tim Tszyu, all of a sudden going up to any other fight at 154 turns into a real potential situation. Spence versus Charlo now turns into a reality. That can happen. Spence versus Keith Thurman, if you want to go there. That fight absolutely can happen if we want to see it. Errol Spence versus, I even dare say he can move up the ranks and get a match ball because of his name. Errol Spence versus Virgil Ortiz. That fight can happen if he wins against Tim Tszyu. Even though, yes, Virgil Ortiz is leagues better right now than Errol Spence, he said that he wanted that fight. That's a dream fight for him. And he was even saying that in the midst of having a potential face-off fight with Boots in the ring. There are names there for him to fight, and there is opportunity to get to a title that is absolutely there for a fight if he goes and takes it. If he goes and takes it. That's not me being, what's the word? Not facetious. That's not me being overhyped about the performance and the ability of Errol Spence. That's the truth of the matter. That is what Errol Spence can do. He can get to a point where he's getting a championship opportunity or a big fight opportunity with names at 154, 160. Oh, lest we forget, if he looks good here at above 154, the biggest, I'm not going to say the biggest rematch, but a rematch that still people say, if Errol Spence looks good, we want to run that back, would be Terrence Crawford. Because everything about what they said about that win would be validated. This brother was not healthy at 147. This cat was barely trained by his trainer, was done wrong by his camp, and couldn't get anything preparation-wise, and even his own taking care of his body. Again, per what we heard with Ronnie Shields and Errol Spence, his body wasn't even in the best shape because he wasn't taking care of himself. Now, up here, we see a whole different beast at 160. Oh, this is the real Errol Spence we should have gotten going up against Terrence Crawford. We need to see that rematch now. Crawford come out of retirement because you got business to handle, because that win was seen as a fraudulent win. That's what some fans are going to say. I am not saying that. Be clear. I'm not saying that. Be very clear. I am not saying that. I'm simply painting a picture for all the noise that people wanted to say against Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence about why that fight went the way that it did. If he looks good at a higher division, people are going to say, we want to see the real fight that was supposed to have happened, not the one-sided beatdown between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Run it back at a higher weight, and let's get the actual all-time classic war we were supposed to get with two people that are actually ready to fight and physically where they need to be to fight. That's going to be the reasoning for a lot of people that want to say, we need to get that rematch. Oh, it's on the table. Championships, big names, rematches for huge fights, paydays left, right, and center. If he wins against Tim Tszyu, this is not a win that elevates him immensely into the throes of undisputed. But this is a win that gets him back into the spotlight for making all the money that he would ever want and getting opportunities strictly because of his name that he can go and force of his own choosing. It's too good to say, oh, I can give up now. Especially if I'm like, I feel good and I'm fighting good. Oh, I got a second act. Let's get it going. Let's get it popping. I don't think he's going to retire if he beats Tim Tszyu. He'll only retire if he loses. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think he's going to retire if he wins. Is Charlo still fighting on the undercard? So Charlo is not fighting on the undercard. Yeah, he is not. Something happened where he couldn't get a passport or visa over to Australia. Was that the case? I forget what transpired. Something in terms of passports, planes, and whatnot, security, and all else, made it so that Charlo was not able to make it down to Australia to fight on the undercard of Errol Spence versus Tim Tszyu. So it's a shame. I'm frustrated. I think he put out a blast on social media talking about the whole situation. I tried to find it, I couldn't save it, but I know it's there if you go and search it up for yourself. But yeah, that fight is off of the undercard, to my knowledge. If I'm wrong, please enlighten. But I'm just telling you what I know for the time being. Let me see. Yo, we fight all night. What's going on with you? Thank you for showing up. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you joining in on the live stream with us today. And hopefully you're enjoying our show and you want to keep on being a part of our community. Yes, indeed. Keep on liking the stream. Keep on chatting and keep on sharing the show. We want to hear from you in all regards and facets of life. And please, one like makes a world of difference for our channel. Wow, very disappointing. Yeah, no, it is disappointing. It's a shame because this very fight could have set up that fight between Errol Spence and Charlo fighting against each other. It could have. Genuinely, it could have. Or at least start the rumors. Maybe we can get that going down. And I just wanted to see Charlo come back. And I think everybody did. And so this kind of, it hurt. It really did hurt. Rumor has it he never wanted to be on the undercard. Now, this is the first time I'm hearing of this rumor. Do I believe it? I'm not sure. Has he had chances to fight before and didn't? Maybe or maybe not. All I know is right now, this is a very frustrating blip in the momentum that we've been trying to see Charlo get back to. This could have been a huge opportunity to go and replant his feet where they needed to be in this division. But it sucks. It's a shame, but it is what it is. But again, that's what I see right now. And the biggest thing, again, back to the Tim Tszyu fight, the biggest thing, like we see in the title of this video, can he win? Can he beat Tim Tszyu? Now, we can talk about the rhetoric. We can talk about the bad blood. We can discuss all of the chips that he has on his shoulder. All of that is irrelevant. Over the bigger question, can he win? Can he beat Tim Tszyu in this fight or not? Should the favoritism be validated, or should it just be straight up hope and a prayer? I genuinely do think that he can beat Tim Tszyu. I do. Absolutely, I do. And here's why. Errol Spence can beat Tim Tszyu because he can take advantage of Tim Tszyu's lack of exit ability. Here's the biggest problem with Tim Tszyu that we've seen over the course of his entire career. He's good at getting in. He ain't good at getting out. When it's time for him to fight back, as in fight backwards, there's no game. When the pressure I have yet to see against a fighter with legitimate good pressure, when he gets put in a situation where he needs to find a way to alleviate that pressure, I've never seen it work for Tim Tszyu. Never. I have never seen Tim Tszyu be able to work out of a pressure fighter that knows what they're doing going against him at the championship or just below type level. Whether it's Bakram, whether it's Fundor, or whether now potentially it's with Tim Tszyu, I haven't seen it. He's a one-dimensional fighter in the framework of there's one way he knows how to fight going forward, which, again, I'm not detracting from. There's plenty of one-dimensional fighters that have been phenomenal. I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm simply saying there's no exit option for Tim Tszyu once he does go into that game mode. And he's doing it against somebody that has had leagues more experience, against leagues better fighters that can do his own knockdown, drag out, mid-range, short game type of area, or mid-range, short range type of area better, with potentially better landing power. Yeah, Tim Tszyu, because of being actually a bigger dude, from the perspective of he's been at this weight longer, or been at above 147 longer. Sure, Tim Tszyu we know has pop, has crack. He can go and damage any opponent. Sure. But we also understand Tim Tszyu doesn't like, well, let me rephrase that. Not doesn't like taking punishment. He can take punishment. I just know when we've seen him have punishment given to him, there has been a change in expression. Look at the fight with Fundora. Look at the fight with Bakram. Look at the fight look at the other fight with Fundora. The second one more specifically. The issues of Tim Tszyu is not that, okay, he's scared to go into a war. But the problem is he can't keep his same level of ferocity when that war goes against him. When it flips, there's a facial, body, and mental shift in the opposite direction. That, yeah, I'm still trying to make something happen. But every time I've seen him on the back foot against a fighter of that caliber of brawler, the Fundoras, Bakrams of the world, I've seen him fight out of desperation, not fight out of confidence. Every time. Every time. When that chip starts to crack, in it, or when the cracks start to show up in his armor, every time I've seen him get backed up, I've always seen him fight out of desperation and never out of, I'm regaining control. I'm going to find a way. I might take some licks, but I will find a way. Now it's, I got to swing to get off. The eyes get wide. The breathing changes. The facial expressions look like a deer in headlights. He's still operating visually, sure, like a fighter. Oh, I still want to go. But you can see clearly, when I'm watching him anyway, this brother's not thinking what his body is showing. And every time, it always shows it. He quit against Fundora. When the cut happened, he couldn't fight out of that dilemma. Though, yes, the blood in his eyes, I get that, understandable. But you saw the expression and body language from shift into, yo, this is uncomfortable territory. It's affecting me. That's the thing. And we've seen that on multiple occasions. If you want to see that happen to Errol Spence, fine, sure, cool. That's all well and good. It did happen. He got beat up, though. And it happened against the best fighter in the world at that point in time. Sure. One of the 10 greatest fighters I've ever seen. That's it. When he had to go against Sean Porter in a war, absolute war, where Sean was giving it to him just as much as he was giving it to Sean, I never saw that same shift in I'm uncomfortable where I'm at. Kell Brook, I never saw it. Against anybody else fought, I never saw that. Ugas, never saw it. After the car crash, Ugas, never saw it. Danny Garcia, never saw it. No matter when the chips came against him, it was never out of desperation how he went to fight. That's what I think is going to be a difference maker. Tim Tszyu can't keep his composure when he gets put in an uncomfortable war that he is not winning in. And because he fights out of desperation, and Spence is more calculated to be able to fight in the same composed yet destructive manner, that's going to lead to cleaner shots, cleaner punches, better work, better use of cutting off the ring, and a better likelihood to beat the will out of your opponent like we've seen him do every time out. Because that's what Errol Spence does. He beats the will out of you. He beats the will out of you. Bludgeons you with body snatching shots that snatches the spirit of your ability to will yourself to fight. We talked about it before. Him and Benavidez had that same skill, or rather trait, that was for both of them. demoralizing level power and aggression. Morale draining type of aggression and punching ability. To the point that even your own corner may not feel the will to try to win because we're just getting beat up every which way. And every time that same pressure is put on Tim Tszyu, he has failed to go and not just turn it around, but failed to go and fight with the composure necessary to operate within that war. And it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a huge problem. At least to me, it's going to be a huge problem. If Errol Spence loses to Tim, he should definitely retire. And that's absolutely fair to say. That's absolutely fair to say. And there's no issue with it. There's not. There shouldn't be. There should be no issue with that type of perception. Because I'm always looking for. Wait, hold on. I'm always, again, fighter safety, fighter life after boxing. We want that to be successful. Without a doubt. But I don't want Errol Spence to make the mistake that we've seen with other fighters where you stay beyond your welcome. You stay beyond what you need to be. We've heard the term leave before the sport leaves you. We've heard that before. To some ways, I agree with that. To some ways, I think there's a little context that we should add to that. But in all, I understand it. Absolutely. But at the same breath, some people, they overstay their time in the sport when it has clearly passed them by. And Tim Tszyu, for what we know Errol Spence is, or rather was, if he beats him, especially if it's a knockdown, drag-out type of loss. Again, if it's just a draw or a controversial split decision, okay, we can have a different conversation there. But if it's a straight-up UD loss, unanimous loss, where it is, okay, we can clearly see you have nothing in the tank that we thought you had before, and you are clearly not the same fighter in any capacity. If this tier of fighter is giving you some trouble in a way that you are struggling mightily, we can say, at least I can say, we have some concern. You shouldn't be fighting anymore. Let yourself go. You can lay down your armor. You've done enough. Because I don't want to see Errol Spence go out in a bad light. Trust me, I don't. Nobody does. That's why we're hoping this goes on a good note. But if it doesn't, and he loses in a fashion that is demoralized, or just clear cut, you ain't where you need to be. Yeah. He should, for his own safety, he should wrap it up. I think that's a fair assessment to say. But again, that's my thoughts on how Tim Tszyu can beat or can be beaten by Errol Spence. Errol Spence beating Tim Tszyu, I think it can happen. I believe it. And I want it. Because and I guarantee you, this will be the last thing before we switch gears. I can promise you, if that fight does go with Errol Spence getting a win, social media will explode with the level of support, and people will be saying boxing's back. I promise you. All because of the amount of love that Errol Spence has had. Errol Spence is one of the few fighters, nobody's ever really disrespected him. And there's no need to. Even if you felt that Terrence Crawford was better than him, which I did, even before they fought against each other, nobody has ever said anything against Errol Spence about the type of fighter that he is. Nobody. For good reason. Because his buddy is worth everything in his ability. From personality, low-key, even-keeled, but a killer in every regard in his prime. Fan favorite. We loved what he did. We loved what he represented. We loved how he went about his life. Even through tragedy, he still was able to climb above it. He's gained a impenetrable wall of fans. I don't say that in a bad way. I say that in a good way. He's gained a level of access to beloved nature that is one of the most consistent, loving fandoms throughout the whole of the sport. Nobody has a thing to say against him except for we hope you win. That's it. That's it. And if he does win this fight, it's going to be celebrations in the streets. Because he's that type of figure. And I can understand. I'm going to be celebrating with him. It's going to be so good. If he does win, it'll be so good to see him win. It'll be so good. I hope it. That's why I really hope it happens. I really hope it happens. I want to live that one more time. I do. I really, really do. But as we transition still into this show, we have more to cover that we want to be sure that we delve into. Like with the further talks between Keyshawn Davis and Shakur Stevenson as their fight is going to purse bid and is getting ready to go down, that they will have a fight against each other. Yes, we got ourselves. We're almost there. We are almost there against all odds and all the noise that we've had with all these fights coming up and all this track record or lack thereof of whether or not we can actually gain some traction in this fight. We are almost there that Devin Haney and Keyshawn Davis will get in the ring with each other. Mind you, the full breakdown of said negotiations is given by the likes of Mike Coppinger, and I'll let him tell you for himself exactly how these negotiations are going down. But if this works out great, Haney, we're going to be good, and we're going to have ourselves a fight, and I'll let him tell you for himself as you transition over into picture-in-picture really quickly once again. Right here, and this is Mike Coppinger.
Everything spoke to Bill Haney.
Hold on. Let me introduce it first. This is Mike Coppinger talking through the current purse bid situation with Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney. Let me just make sure you walk and see it, and then I'll play the clip right now for you all to be able to see exactly what is going on. There you go.
Devin Haney, I just spoke to Bill Haney just 2 minutes ago on the break, and he said they're going to proceed with the purse bid for the Devin Haney Keyshawn Davis fight. They're on a 75% of that split, so they like where their positioning is at. If there's no deal struck, Max, by next week, there will be a purse bid a week from today, Monday, July 27th. And they're saying, look, we're willing to fight everybody. They say that they're taking this fight and it's legacy over money with the Shakur opportunity. Let's see how it unfolds, but it feels like Shakur or Keyshawn Davis is next. Devin.
Perfect. This is perfect. This is incredible. I'm telling you, I love it. This has been one of the most talked about ventures within boxing right now. That every time we bring it up, it's always what they want. And now it looks like we're actually going to make it happen. Now, here's the thing. Some people may take some people talking about purse bid being a bad thing, being a good thing. Like I said, for me, they hear 200K, 75% split for each. Again, I think that's where the purse bid starts. Not sure exactly where it's going to end. All I know is what Devin Haney said, quoting Mike Coppinger, legacy over the money. We're trying to get the fights that mean something more than ever. And this is exactly why I continue to say, this is why no matter what I feel about Devin Haney fighting style-wise, this brother continues to do what we want him to do. And now, Devin Haney and Keyshawn Davis, if this fight does go down, that's a fight that's been on everybody's mind for the past almost 4 months. Just about ever since we saw Keyshawn Davis beat and knock out Jermaine Ortiz and stop him. It's been a consistent thing. We want to see that type of smoke. We want to see that work. Can he go up to 140, 147? Shakur or Devin Haney? Who you going to fight first? Whose belt are you going to go after? Because now you're in the thick of their conversation and name. And immediately we see Devin Haney going through and saying, we want to take that name. We want to add that name to our rhinestone of luminous career from the standpoint of quality competition. We can discuss who's going to win that fight. And be clear, I even put out a poll right now as to who can win between Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney, because I do want to hear your thoughts and opinions on what exactly you feel is going to be the difference maker in this fight. Hold on. I'm typing it down. But the one thing that we can't say about anything with Devin, the brother keeps on pushing the envelope. keeps on pushing the competition level. And I love it. I appreciate it. Now, I did hear, and this was a gripe that some people had. And again, I'm not trying to bring this up. We deal with the fights. We don't necessarily deal with the money and all that stuff. I did hear some people on other podcasts and platforms going through and saying, I've never heard Tank Davis go to a purse bid before. That could never be my fighter. That could never be my situation. We support only 8-side people over here. I've heard that in the past 3 days in regards to the announcement that this whole thing was going down, that Keyshawn and Devin purse bid, that's what was going down for the fight. I want to understand, I want to make sure we make one thing clear, at least for me, on this channel. Pocket watching a fighter is not what I'm about when it comes to talking about boxing. Again, this is not me throwing slight or shade at anybody. I'm making a point with this. Pocket watching who made what or when, beyond just the threshold of we know what's fair and what's not fair, that's not what I'm about. What I'm about is you making the legacy to make yourself an undeniable option for anybody to fight, number one. And number two, win, lose, or draw, what type of performance did you put on? How do I remember you? But after your most recent outing, and subsequently with the resume that you created for your whole career. It never made sense to me why we have fighters going through and having them making more money, being the end-all be-all over the fight itself. Never understood that to me. But it seems like that stigma is still around, even when somebody like Devin Haney is continuing to challenge and take the legacy of what this generation of boxing represents. Specifically, people still using Tank or Floyd or any big-time moneymaker type fighter as a means to try to diminish what the legacy of another is. If you are a fan that is doing that, if you're a fan that is using the money of a fighter to be able to hype them up as to what type of star they are or what type of legacy that they hold, or rather, that's the reason why they're better than your guy. And that's the only reason why you can say somebody is above somebody else. That should signify to you that something's wrong with that equation that you're making to create a hierarchy in boxing. Because that just shouldn't be the case, that is the only end-all be-all. Be clear. Floyd is retired. Tank is irrelevant in the standpoint of the current landscape in boxing. He has been talked about immensely, but has not one fight made at all. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. So he is a forgotten name until he puts himself in here and makes something happen. So he's irrelevant for the time being. And anybody else, even once say Ryan Garcia, because of the amount of money he can draw on a consistent basis, if that is your only use in making money as to why you are the biggest dude in boxing, and you're completely negating the legacy argument, it seems to me you were never actually a fan of the sport itself. Is that fair to say? And it's a problem. And that type of noise is getting drowned out more and more. Because guess what? Because we're seeing Devin Haney go after legacy, we've seen him talked about consistently, even now. Like we had last week, is one of the faces of the sport going forward. Even though everybody keeps saying he is born. He is going to be consistently attached and fighting every name or nearly every name that has been around him, who is also in the same conversation for being in this leading face of the sport. As well as just on the whole, he has been consistently respected as one of the best and accomplished fighters of this generation, leaving nearly everybody else in the dust. By the time when his career does end, regardless of what you feel about him, you cannot say this man did not deliver on pushing the envelope of competition. You can't. And the standing respect, even if we can say he's a villain, even if we can say we don't like him, even if we can say we don't like his fighting style, Even if we can say, even if you don't like him as a person, again, I don't know him. That's not my place to say. I'm just telling you other gripes that people have had, and I'm telling you right now, regardless of that, look at where his position is right now. Because he went after legacy. Benavidez, the same thing. This brother was attached to Canelo consistently. Couldn't get the fight. And then he went and just said, you know what, bump it. I'm going to do my own thing, get my own career, and carve my own way. And now, because he kept on fighting quality competition, quality names, and quality performances against those quality names, we're looking at Benavidez now as one of the most exciting, polarizing, and soon-to-be legendary fighters that we have in this sport that will, at minimum, be one of the leading faces that makes everybody want to tune in. Because he isn't ducking smoke and he's consistently putting on performances against elite people. His legacy is drawing everybody to him. And the money, as we see right now, is going to be able to come in droves because you went after the legacy first. Devin Haney is following in that same footsteps. And because he continued to have legacy after legacy after legacy type of fight, he is in a position right now where the next two fights with him could make bank and make him one of the highest paid boxers within the next fiscal year. If he gets both Keyshawn and Shakur, which right now looks to be incredibly likely. Almost a foregone conclusion. And this is somebody that's been saying he can't sell. This brother's boring. This cat ain't got no pull to him. And look at what's going down. We are seeing the living embodiment of exactly what I've been saying when it comes to boxing. If you follow the legacy first, the money will come. If you go after the legacy first and you challenge the envelope first, if you push the grade of competition first before anything else, the legacy will come and the money will follow. If you follow the money first, you'll get the money, but then that money might dry up or dry out. And the lasting legacy that is the ultimate recurring income, that will stop. This is what we wanted to see. And this is the position that we're getting. And I love it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy about it. Now, with that out the way, we can talk about the fight itself. Since this looks like this is actually going down, now we can start having some legitimate conversation of who's going to win. Of who's going to win this fight. And I will go. I'm putting out a poll right now. There we go. We put out a poll to see how you all feel and how you all will vote from this perspective of who's going to win this war between two contrasting styles of competitor, but similar personalities in terms of bravado and outright pride. Let me see. Teddy Berkshire, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on the show. Thank you for showing up and showing up on our stream and showing up on this Tuesday afternoon. He still don't seem all there, Errol. I think again I think that's just Errol Spence's demeanor. If something is still missing, we will find out. I promise you. I just know we're watching and we're hoping everything comes out fine. But you got Keyshawn Davis winning in round 7 by KO. I'm gonna be completely honest. When it comes to Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney, I don't think Keyshawn Davis can win right now. I don't. I don't think Keyshawn can win. Or rather, I'm picking Devin Haney to win this fight. And not Keyshawn Davis to win. Though I know Keyshawn Davis can win. I don't think Keyshawn Davis will win this fight. Honestly. And Keyshawn Davis is a very exciting and entertaining fighter. Very exciting and entertaining. Very good with what he's shown collectively in the last 2 fights that he had, Jermaine Ortiz and Albright. The Albright fight has some people concerned a little bit with that type of performance. But all in all, he went and handled business like he was supposed to. And Ortiz was the best display of outright skill against somebody that was a great mover. And you stopped him on a huge stage. That was New York City. All that's got everybody believing Keyshawn Davis is going to be that guy. He's going to be that dog. But right now, I don't think he can beat Devin Haney. And it's because I don't know if Keyshawn Davis, to be perfectly honest, that jab at Devin Haney's got me thinking he's going to win. To be honest, it's the jab and specifically the speed combined with the length that Devin Haney can fight at. I don't know if Keyshawn Davis is going to be able to handle that in this regard. Yes, we saw them. We had clips of them in sparring, working against each other, and Keyshawn Davis was putting in some good work. We did see that. We saw Keyshawn Davis be able to go and get Devin Haney to the ropes and do some damage, rough him up, land shots when he was when he was up against the corner. Absolutely. But we can firmly say we believe this is a different Devin Haney from that sparring session. Absolutely. And even since his last fight with Brian Norman, we've seen a shift in what he's actually capable of with his power and with his frame and size. Even right now, he came in and they were doing a whole weight challenge with everybody coming through and saying, how much did he weigh? We were calling this but a weight bully, and we were saying this cat was 180, 175 in that training footage that he was hitting that big heavy bag with last weekend. And come to find out, this buddy did a whole weight, did a whole weight check. And this cat ain't nothing. I think, if I remember correctly, this cat ain't nothing. Hey! Hold on, too loud. This cat ain't number one at this point in time. Hold on now. See, the clips are playing for. Stop, Devin, shut up. There we go. Okay. So sorry. I was trying to find the clip. But Devin Haney, at this point in time, even though he looks like a brick house, is still only 158. And I'll let him show you on the scales himself in this recent weight check of what he did preparing for his next fight, whatever it may be, but we believe is going to be Keyshawn Davis.
Shout out to all the weight police out there.
And so,
shout out to all the weight police out there.
Again, if I can get to the other picture. Where's one? If you can zoom in. There we go. So if you can zoom in right here and see. 159.8 is his current weight right now. Not 180. So he's just big right now, but maintaining roughly just under 160. About right where we're seeing Errol Spence Tim Tszyu fight right now. Which, to me, one, he can get bigger. But two, he is, even here, is a menace of a man when it comes to a physical stature. Keyshawn Davis is both a physical specimen in his own regard, but physically he might be outmatched by Devin Haney. Legit. Coupled with the fact, physically, he also might just be outright slower than Devin Haney. And when it comes to the sparring matches versus the actual boxing in the pro setting, not sparring, but straight up, it counts for a record. I'm scared that speed is going to be something that Keyshawn may not be able to outright overcome. Because we know Keyshawn's game plan that can win. Get him in the ropes, get him in the corner. As he backs up, you let him give up real estate. And then when he tries to go and clinch, when you get too close, now either you can take a half step back and go and land some stuff, or you can fight out of the clinch, similar to David Benavidez, and have the capacity to grapple control and land some shots to force Devin Haney into a situation like he did against Lomachenko. Lomachenko made it so that Devin Haney's clinching was obsolete. You can't clinch him. You have to fight him, or else you're going to get the worst of the damage, and that turned that into a close Fight of the Year contender. That is what we can see Keyshawn Davis do, but that's what he's going to have to do. That's what's going to need to happen. The question is, can it happen against somebody that is as physically strong as Devin Haney? That's what I want to hear your thoughts on, see how you feel. Davis is younger, just as fast and stronger. It's who wins the mind games. Haney been reluctant finisher. Keyshawn ain't. That is true. Haney is not built to be, or Haney is not mentally trained to be a finisher in boxing. He's not a powerful, he can be a very good puncher. He has the capacity to be a better puncher. We've had multiple opponents that have said Devin Haney has power legitimately. He just doesn't use it like that because that's not what he's built like as a fighter. He's built as a point scorer, a jabber, a distance manager, a pot shotter, and a defensive aficionado. That's what he wants to be. And a technician through and through. His identity is not to get you out of there. His identity is to make sure I make all of your skills obsolete. You can't hit what you can't touch. So you can't touch me. That's what that's how he fights. Keyshawn being a better finisher doesn't always equate to he'll be able to get the job done. Because he can pull the trigger all the time. Brian Norman tried to pull the trigger too, and look what happened to him because he tried to get too zealous with pulling that trigger. Almost got knocked out by a buddy who can't knock nobody out. We're dealing with a battle of patience and a battle of situational awareness when it comes to Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney. The situation of when to do what is exactly what Devin Haney thrives on. Because even if we say he always clinches, always holds, does all that stuff, one thing we can say about it is always right at the right time. Right when all of a sudden the opponent might get some momentum, immediately he's stopping you. We don't like it. We hate it. I don't even think he needs to do it nearly as much. He can simply fight his way out of those situations because of how strong he is and be a lot better if he was more confident with his offensive game from the standpoint of being a more offensively minded fighter while not compromising his identity. But that's not him. So, in that respect, every time he needs to make that adjustment, stop your momentum, stop your style, and stop you from getting any confidence, guess what? He doesn't. And we hate it because it's every time the opponent gets a level of running speed. Up, some stuff landed. Oh, maybe he can turn some stuff around. Maybe he can go through and start to land some big time shots to try to change his fight's trajectory. Then clinch. Up, jab, jab, clinch. And the opponent can't do anything about it. And in a situation to do something different, they don't have the same capacity to go and change the methods that ain't working. At least from what we've seen in nearly all the fights that Devin Haney's had. Situational awareness is a very hard skill to have. But Devin Haney does have it. What he does in that situation, we might not like at all, but he has it. Does Keyshawn have that same level of awareness? That's the question. If he does, perfect. But if he doesn't, that's a problem. It can turn into a huge problem. But once Davis gets in his head, he will fight out of character. And I see Ryan Garcia again. And that's where you know what, Teddy? Well, hold on. Let me read y'all the chat first before I continue. Let me see. As a muscle man, I can tell you muscle doesn't always translate to power or strength. That is true. That's absolutely true. I am simply saying that his power has been substantial because of what Ryan Garcia said and because of what we saw against Brian Norman, who Brian Norman said, okay, yeah, he can punch. I underestimated him and what he can bring to the table. That's why I'm saying he does have power. He just doesn't use it. It's not his game. But you're right. Muscle doesn't always translate to outright strength, especially you don't know how to translate that strength into technique. So you're right about that. But on the other end of the spectrum, you're wrong about Davis getting in Devin Haney's head. I don't think Keyshawn Davis can get into his head to make him fight out of character. I don't think that's possible for Keyshawn Davis. Honestly, I don't. And I say that because Devin Haney has fought against Ryan Garcia. And it wasn't Ryan Garcia's mind games or mouth being able to talk a good game that got him out of character. It was in the ring, brother, I can't clinch him up. And I can't physically stifle him. So I have to fight for my life and do stuff I don't want to do. Every time we see Devin Haney get forced to fight out of character, it's always been because he is in an in-ring debacle. Something in the ring. He never got out of his element until somebody did something inside the ring that pushed him out of his element. But in terms of game plan and not being what I'm going to be, he's like Shakur in that regard. You're not about to make me change because you can try to goad my anger, goad my ego, goad my aggression into saying, I got something to prove. We saw Roberto Duran do that against Sugar Ray Leonard. This is not me calling Sugar Ray Leonard weak. Be clear. This is not me calling Sugar Ray Leonard mentally weak. But a perfect example of this was when Sugar Ray Leonard got goaded into a knockdown, drag-out war by the antics and words of Roberto Duran. Especially, I think he did something to his wife as well in a press conference that took everything over the hill. Absolutely. And at that point, it turned that equated to one of the greatest fights we had ever seen in boxing history. That Duran won in a 15-round, incredibly close decision. But that is not the norm unless you get pushed to that level of extreme. Keyshawn Davis, I don't think can push Devin Haney before the fight to that type of extreme to where now I'm going to prove something to you and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go and knock you out. And I'm going to show you I'm the bigger, stronger, and better fighter, not just boxer. He ain't going to do that. Because nobody's been able to make Devin Haney fight like that as the initial game plan. It's only ever changed when somebody forced the change mid-fight, like with Ryan Garcia or Lomachenko. Now, again, Ryan Garcia PEDs, we understand, but the gist of it is, unless you can make it so that his boxing ability, his jab, his clinching, his footwork become a thing where it doesn't work, you'll never get him before the fight to change what he is. You'll only be able to make him change if you force a change after the bell. That's it. You can talk and be as entertaining as you want to. You can get him as upset as you want to. That's the one thing with Devin Haney I don't think will ever change. This brother's not going to be an offensive-minded fighter that's going to try to prove a point until you go and make him have to prove a point by you making the point he wants to prove of my boxing's better obsolete. You can't outbox me. That's what happened against Ryan Garcia. He couldn't outbox him. He couldn't just jab, move, and get out the way and be slick and defensive. He had to go into the trenches because when he tried to move, he kept getting knocked down. When he tried to throw a jab, he kept getting rocked and on wobbly legs, and his face was in the mat every time. You got to make Devin Haney fight in a way that you can't use, or he can't use his boxing. When his jab doesn't become his best weapon, when his feet don't become the best opportunity to succeed, when his defense and speed aren't able just to make it so, oh, I'm untouchable, and when the ropes can't end in the same routine, you got me to the ropes, now I'm going to clinch you, that's when you'll see him shift and change his whole dynamic of fight. Because now I gotta find something else because all my normal tricks are not working. But going into the fight, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna jab you. I'm gonna back up. I'm going to use my speed and length to keep you at bay. This will not be an inside fight unless you make this an inside fight, and there's nothing you can do about it otherwise. And with Keyshawn Davis, that's where stuff can potentially be a problem. He's a smarter inside fighter than Brian Norman. More polished and tactical, sure. But the same issue can apply. You still got to get there because you won't make him fight you like you want him to if you just go round one, ding, ding. All right, let's see what you got. If you can't make him change, he is not going to change. I can almost guarantee you. Let me see. You don't see the stuff the businessman do. I can't wait to see how shocked you get when Haney gets dropped early. I mean, look, be clear. Be clear. I said this from the jump. Keyshawn Davis has the capacity to hurt Devin Haney because he's a better mid-range and inside fighter than Brian Norman. He's got better shot selection. He's got better patience. He's got better timing. He's got better instincts. And technically, he's not going to get put in the same situation where I'm just falling in the punches and I don't know how to operate once I actually get in that close range. He's not going to smother his work the same way. He's going to be a better body snatch. We can argue Brian Norman is a better outright puncher, but as a definitive landing puncher, yeah, it's Keyshawn Davis all day. All day. Without question. There is entirely a world where we see Devin Haney get put in a dangerous state because guess what? You got countered by a quality shot from Keyshawn Davis when you let him get too close and you relied too much on the one weapon, which was the jab. Or the clinch comes into play and next thing you know, you got caught with a hook or an uppercut or he pushed you off and landed something while you were trying to recover. Next thing you know, now you're on the mat. Or your days, you're on wobbly legs. Everybody's saying, oh my. You got the crowd's cheering. And everybody's making a bunch of uproar noise. Because you're back in the same state that you were against Ryan Garcia. Absolutely, we can see that. How we get there, though, is what's important. It's never about just, do you have the capacity? Do you have the plan and the ability to execute that plan to get there? Mike Tyson was an incredible puncher. Guess what? That puncher would have been nothing if he didn't have a plan of how to go and open up the door for his offense to be able to land in all ranges of the fight. That same thing has happened with Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney. Without that, there is no way that we can see him just win. No matter how much power he may have, no matter how much better punch selection he may be able to use, no matter how much more refined of an offensive output that he has going into this fight, he's definitely going to be bigger, and that can equate to even more dangerous power. He can potentially be more filled out and more comfortable with moving around the ring, more comfortable with being able to be stamina-driven because, I don't have to go and worry about having to go and will myself down. I'm good. I'm fine. It's hunky-dory. I can walk and do whatever I want. I'm in the clear, and I feel better than ever. A breath of fresh air could be Keyshawn Davis at 147, where the whole world is saying this brother is getting into his killer mode of maturity in body. Oh, the world better look out, because he's going to be a menace at 147 against anybody. Oh, Lord. That's absolutely that is in the cards of this can happen. You still got to execute, though. I don't care how good you may be. You still got to execute. And against Devin Haney, we've rarely seen people be able to execute what needs to be done. Rarely. Because he is that good. Like him or not, he is that good. And Keyshawn needs to get up to his level. Not the other way around. We got to make sure we make that perfectly clear. Keyshawn Davis needs to get up to his level of competition in Devin Haney. It is not the other way around where they're both on an even playing field. It's not the other way around where Keyshawn Davis is the better fighter than Devin Haney. He's not. Or excuse me, as a fighter in the perspective of he's better at doing damage, doing punishment, and being able to go and press the issue. Yeah, He's better in that framework. But as an all-around fighter, boxing and fighting involved, he is not better than Devin Haney. No, he's not. This fight is an exciting fight. Devin Haney is the favorite. And Keyshawn Davis is the underdog. Keyshawn just has a good chance to be able to win. But the answer still has to come from Keyshawn Davis. Can you elevate to be better than Devin Haney? I'm not saying he can't. But I'm not going to sit here and act like that's not the tale of this fight. Because the only fighter right now that most people have been given the option to say he can beat him clean is Shakur. At this point in time, it is Shakur. If this is the guy that's going to be the better man going into the fight, it would be Shakur Stevenson. Keyshawn has a great X factor of a chance to go and shift all this stuff around, but he still is not perceived initially. I'm the guy to get the job done. And it's because, in part, of what he showed against Albright. Getting counted against Albright. Even though it was a better clear-cut win in the first fight that he had, and he is a better fighter. What he was getting tagged with when it came to the jab and the awkwardness and the length of Albright that was giving him some problems to where he was getting caught with something. He was like, oh, I'm surprised I didn't see that coming. That rhythm. It made people believe, hey, he's still got a good chance. But we are a little bit concerned that you may be in a potential really hard fight where some of these same issues or problems come to effect in that fight with Albright, again, and Devin Haney. You're going to be in a bad situation, not in terms of damage, but in terms of you're lost looking for answers. I'm not saying it's going to be the absolute case. I'm just saying that is a possibility that can happen. Let me see. He can't fully run 12 rounds. Keyshawn jab, two very sharp. If Haney's jab's a 9, Davis is at least a 7. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. No issue there. I absolutely can agree with it. And we could see a similar fight, or at least a fight akin to Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney. It could look somewhat similar to Murataya versus Andy Cruz, where Andy Cruz, back foot, a lot of speed, a lot of straight shots, going upstairs and down, trying to land on Murataya, and again, movement-based boxing. Murataya fought like the bigger fighter, because he was a broader fighter, stronger fighter, yeah, but he was able to, while moving forward, block or parry the jab, or straight up slip it all together, land shots downstairs to the body, slow down that footwork, and then, while still walking him down, now I'm transitioning. Now I'm going upstairs. Now I'm landing at the head. And now I'm able to tag you while you're still trying to retreat, because now you're just slow enough that my length is able to get to you easier, and you ain't reacting to the same stuff in the same way. Now you got to fight some more, and I was able to be par to par with you while you were fresh. And now the pendulum is swinging. You're now in my type of fight. Versus I fought your fight and I was able to keep up with you. Now you got to go and fight my fight and be able to keep up with me. And Andy Cruz, valiant effort, just came up short. Incredible fight. That could be the same story that we see with Keyshawn Davis and Devin Haney. Keyshawn Davis has to go and fight in a way that has him par to par with Devin Haney. And when Devin Haney does slow down, even if it's slightly, now Keyshawn has to be able to win his side of the fight when it turns into, okay, now I can start using my game plan. What can you do? It's going to take body work first and foremost. It's going to take you going downstairs and sapping the energy. It's going to take you earning Davis's respect not just of your power, but of your ability. I can't just do this one thing and win. Then, when the second half comes, like we saw with Lomachenko, now it's my turn to take the lead in this fight. You got to dance with me, just like I danced with you. Can you keep up? Can you keep up? If you can do that, Keyshawn can take this fight. But it's going to be incredibly tough because that first 7 rounds, you're going to need to be able to go and stifle all of Devin Haney's initial pot shotting to score, while landing stuff that makes the judges see you as significantly, oh, you've done better work or more work. Accuracy and consistency over just the power outright is what Keyshawn Davis needs to have early. Because if he doesn't, by the time the second half of the fight comes and it's still well and good in Devin Haney's favor, well, now all Devin Haney has to do is just stay alive, clinch up, like we saw against Brian Norman, and we know how that goes. He had to fight in a war against Lomachenko because he was not up against Lomachenko by the time that second half of the fight came. And he wasn't able to utilize the same stuff that worked to pull ahead. Can Keyshawn force that same envelope? That's what we're asking. Can he? I'm not sure. Will he? We'll find out. We absolutely will. Let me see. Beach Store, how you doing? We appreciate you on the show. Good to see you. Thank you for showing up and showing out and tuning in to our show. Please leave a like on the stream. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions. We want to hear from you. Keep on sharing the show. Keep on liking the stream and keep on joining in on our community. The hottest show on the globe right here on the Welch Report, without a doubt. And shameless plug, if you want to support the channel, we still got super thanks, cash apps, PayPal, that little $ by the chat icon, as well as Cash App, PayPal. Yeah, links down below in the description. If you can support the channel, would mean the world to us. We're funded by viewers like you all. But let's keep on reading your chats and responses on today. Let me see. Keyshawn is an Olympic silver medalist. Him and Devin are the same age. That is true. They all wait. Hold on. I thought Devin Haney was. I thought Devin Haney was a little bit older. Let me see. Devin Haney age. How old is Devin Haney? Okay, he's 27. Keyshawn. Huh? Wow. Shoot. You right. They're both 27 years old. My gosh. That's actually ridiculous. That's actually insane. Because great day in the morning. Devin Haney did all of that before the age of 27. Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia, Jorge Linares, Jose Ramirez, undisputed. Cambosos twice over in Australia. What the world? Shoot. That's I'm not gonna lie. Hey, no, I'm just realizing that's ridiculous. Actually, that's actually really ridiculous. But let me keep reading your chats while I sit with that reality. When it comes to power, Keyshawn spars with his older brothers, whom they are bigger and stronger than Devin Haney. Absolutely, but as we've seen, they are clearly not better than Devin Haney. They are clear. Yeah, and that one brother, yeah, he's way taller. But I don't think the whole of the brothers. Well, actually, I can't remember the weight class that they're in. I just know for a fact they are not nearly as the complete package as Devin Haney, as what I think we've clearly seen over the course of their career. With due respect, this does not mean that he isn't somebody that can't, affect change. Sure, just know, I don't think it's the same level. You're going to need to have a lot more sparring partners than just your brothers to prepare for what Devin Haney brings to the table. Because if you're talking about size and power, that's not what's going to win you a game plan matchup against Devin Haney. Needs to be footwork and forward moving defense. That's gonna be the thing you need. Let me see. Yo, let's be real. What's going on with you? How you doing? Salute to you. Good to see you. And we thank you for tuning on our show. Hopefully you're enjoying our show. Hopefully you're enjoying our live stream. Keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. We got about 9 to 10 people in the chat. If all of y'all can hit the like, it can turn into 20, and then 30, and then 40. Then who knows however much it can be. But let me read your chat to see what you had to say. Should Keyshawn go back to Bomac for this? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Should he go back to Bomac for this fight? Unless he's with them already. No, he left Bomac. Let me make sure. Keyshawn Davis leaves Bomac. Okay, I'm trying to make sure. Okay, yes, he did split with Bomac. This was after the fight with Albright in the locker room and that whole drama with losing the title, missing weight against Yellow Santos at 135. Wanted a fresh start, wanted a fresh rejuvenation, and cut ties with everything. Yeah, I remember that. Cut ties with everything to go and start completely anew. But for this fight, it might be good to go back with Bomac. Now, I say that in a sense. We don't want to see what has been working get taken away. Because again, him against Jermaine Ortiz, this was also after Bomac was phenomenal. Him against Albright was not a bad win at all in the way that he went and clearly beat Albright way better than the first time they fought. I don't think you can go back to Bomac with what you've established right now with your new regime of coaching and training. Because of what Keyshawn Davis now, with 2 fights into this new team, just got comfortable with everything that they do. Everything that they do. It's not, and so to turn that away now would be potentially dangerous. Or rather, would hurt the ability to be where you want to be in this fight. If you're looking at Keyshawn, the best way to win. If you could bring Bomac in as a liaison, as an advisor, cool, great. Would he bring him in as a main coach after wanting to go and start fresh? I don't think he would. Would it be wrong for him to bring him in? No. It's just the likelihood, most likely he won't. I would not be mad if he did. Because again, it's Bomac we're talking about. But most likely, it won't happen. Most likely, it won't happen. Look, you're reading your thoughts and opinions on the show. Devin doesn't have elite footwork, though. Well, Well, if he doesn't have elite footwork, then what level of footwork is he? Because being able to be so quick to move around and backwards at such an instantaneous fashion with the defense that he legitimately has. I've seen him turn opponents around. I've seen him be able to, off the back foot, make people obsolete. I've seen him be able to use misdirection, L-steps, and whatever the case you need to be at a very high level. Again, situational movement he is incredibly good at. This isn't like necessarily with Shakur, where people say Shakur only moves backwards, half steps back, but I would call his footwork elite because his footwork is based in distance. And Devin Haney is faced in outright keeping a wide range. And I'm faster than you. So if I need to go and change direction and get out of here, I can. While still, boom, popping you with that jab over and over and over again. So I would say, I think he has elite footwork. Again, if you don't, again, I can't. It's subjective. Because many other people say yeah. And some people say no. I think he does, but hey. If he doesn't, then Keyshawn Davis should be able to go and close the distance easy. And then go through and put him to sleep. or put him in a world of danger, world of trouble, if that is the case. But like I said, we'll find out if this fight actually does come to fruition. Keyshawn is signed to Prince. He can get work from both Charlos if he in the J Prince gym in Texas. Would the Charlos help him against Devin Haney? I don't think so. Not right now. I don't think neither of them is in a situation where they are able to provide the valued help necessary right now. It doesn't mean that they ain't smart. It's just the fact with all the qualms we've had about the Charlos as a whole, they need to handle themselves more than anything before they can help other people. And I wouldn't be the one to go to Charlos specifically at this point in time for a big fight to go help me out against somebody who's one of the best technical boxers in the world. With where they're at right now, I wouldn't. Again, that's just me though. He doesn't have better footwork than He doesn't have better footwork than Jermaine Ortiz. You know what? I'll let y'all debate that. I would have to go back. I think he does, but I would have to go back and compare both people on film to see who is and isn't better. Or if it's just a situation where they both got elite feet, but one just uses their feet differently than the other. That it could just be that. But again, I think he does. But we'll let stuff shift and see if this fight just come through. That's why we want the purse bid to happen. Because we want all these questions answered about whether or not he is fit for this position. That he is indeed has the footwork that we thought, or doesn't have the footwork at all. Or if Keyshawn Davis just ain't on that level. We want this fight to happen. We can have these questions answered. And that's why I'm so excited, because we're almost at the cusp of it. And I can't wait to see it. And speaking of which, because we want to make sure we keep on having the rest of this show going forward. Speaking of fights that are happening, we also got the likes of Keyshawn Davis. Not Keyshawn Davis. Ryan Garcia and Conor Ben, who just had their first face-off in press conference. I think earlier this week or the weekend last week. And this fight has gotten everybody a little bit more interested because these folks just absolutely hate each other. And I'm going to play the clips as to show the animosity between the two in a little bit and see how everything goes forward. Let me see. They going to drop the belt? Who? Devin Haney? Are we talking about Devin Haney dropping the belt for Keyshawn? Are we sure? Maybe this might be before a different chat. I'm not exactly sure about. Maybe I'm missing. I think I might be missing some context here in terms of who is referring to as dropping the belt. But clarify with me so I can make sure I read it correctly or give context correctly to what is going down. Also, before I'm about to switch over into the Ryan Garcia stuff, but before we get to that, in this poll, we've had 57% of people picking Devin Haney to win over Keyshawn Davis. And I agree. For right now, I agree with it. 71% of people picking Davis to lose to Devin Haney. Because the whole thing is, Keyshawn Davis's best way to beat Devin Haney is by a knockout. That is, for most people, that is a very hard thing to be your main saving grace to have. When you're going up against a technical savant of any caliber, when it comes to the elite of your division. I am more interested in how can Keyshawn Davis keep up with the range and speed of Devin Haney more than just the knockout power of what he can do. That's why I'm thinking Devin Haney can win. Because I don't know if that set of equations will equate to a victory for Keyshawn Davis. Having to match those aspects and say straight up, he can land and get him out. Because if he doesn't land it, it doesn't get him out of there. And Keyshawn and Devin Haney still goes back to, okay, I'm going to just box you because it was working. Can you do it again? The answer will be yes, but if you don't, that could be another decision going in Devin Haney's favor. Let me see. Yeah, he's going to drop that belt. Devin is going to drop the belt. Keyshawn knock out Devin. Whoa. Yeah, he's going to drop the belt. Devin's going to drop the belt. Keyshawn is going to knock out Haney. It's going to be career. Good gosh, career ending? Career ending? If this, let me tell you something. If this was to end Devin Haney's career, that would be shocking. I don't think one loss, unlike what we said with potentially the people like Tank Davis, who has stated publicly, I can't handle losing. If I lose, especially with what's been going on right now, there's a likelihood it might be the end of Tank's career. I don't think Devin Haney would retire after a loss to Keyshawn Davis. I don't think it would. He's too young. Still got so much stuff he can do. Still in the prime of his career. Still loves the game. And he already had his quote-unquote humiliating moment when he fought against Ryan Garcia. Sure, he got overturned, pop dirty and all, but that was the fight that if you lose for the first time as a villain, this is what you're going to be dealing with. Can you mentally handle it? And we found out, okay, initially he couldn't, but he recovered, and now he can. So I don't think a loss would affect him in the same way mentally. So I don't think even if he lost to Keyshawn Davis, it wouldn't be career-ending. It would be great to have Keyshawn at the top in that regard of, oh, we got a brand new star. We got a brand new brother in the totem pole of competition. But it would not be, I don't think it would be career-ending for the likes of Devin Haney. To pull up the Jermaine Ortiz stoppage, how Keyshawn caught that body. Now, again, I can't pull out the footage because I don't own the rights to it. Learning better about copyright, but look it up. Yes, and I do remember he caught him to the body and he crumpled to the canvas. I think what was it, around 11 or 12, just about. So I remember we watched that live here because it was I believe it was the co-main event for Shakur Stevenson versus Tszyu on that same card. So yeah, no, he did it. And that's why I said the body work is going to be the thing that starts the process of success for Devin Haney. For Keyshawn Davis. If you can't consistently tag the body, not just flood the basement, but score with the real estate given, yeah, that can start a level of domino effect for down the line. And you can potentially go and catch him and be like, I'm hurt. I'm dead. I can't get up. Type of situation. But that's where it starts. That is where it starts. But as we continue, we got to make sure, again, we want to make sure we keep up with the clips and keep up with the flow of the show that we're trying to do. And I need to get back to, where's that clip? Where's that clip? Because we were trying to play Ryan Garcia and the whole situation. If I can find it, we were trying to play Ryan Garcia and the clip of him, and here it is. Ryan Garcia and Conor been going at each other and really showing this bad blood and animosity going forward in their build-up, to their fight against each other. And I'm playing right now so we can start reacting to that as this fight, again, is building up steam, as in a couple months, they're going to be facing off against each other. And trust me, you're going to want to see this fight, and I'm going to want to see this fight as well. But listen to this interaction with each other, Ryan Garcia and Conor Ben, jawing on the Ring Magazine podcast. Yep, hold on.
Not take a knee and not get back up. You're gonna have to render me unconscious and knock me out. That's me.
That's good.
That's
gonna happen.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen.
yeah, we'll
That's
see.
good.
Yeah, we'll see. Please don't tell me.
No, it's just be hilarious when you're actually unconscious.
Yeah, please don't.
And you don't have the opportunity to take a knee. That's going to be hilarious.
Please don't.
You always say that.
Please don't tell me.
You always say that.
Please don't tell me.
It's easier to get you going, huh?
Yeah, please don't tell me. I'm gonna put my fist straight through your face. Do you understand? Smash them glasses. Do you understand?
Got it.
Do you understand?
Come try it again.
He's sitting there.
Come try it again.
Listen,
come try it again.
It's proven. It's proven. I'm not speculating. He takes a knee and don't get back up. That's not fact. That's not speculating. That's fact. He quit. I would not take a knee and not get back up. You're gonna have to render me unconscious.
And I play this clip because we're talking about this fight coming up, and very exciting and very entertaining. All that stuff is well and good. I play this clip because of one specific thing. Not just enjoying at each other, not just the bad blood and animosity that they have, not just the concern of this could be an all-out war against each other, which we hope it is. This fight between Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn is a fight that I am now more confident Conor Benn is going to get knocked out. More confident than ever.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here.
Very much so.
We got some problems here.
And it's all because. Let me make sure I got the wrong title card for what this is supposed to be. But it's all because Conor Benn is still going off of Ryan Garcia against Tank. That's going to be legit his downfall. That's going to be his downfall. I can guarantee you. That's going to be his downfall. He is still relying on Ryan Garcia took a knee and didn't get up against Tank Davis. Hence, you're a quitter. Hence, you're not going to be able to get up if I try to punch you. And I'm going to say this right now. If you're still relying on that, with the caliber of fighter Conor Benn is, you are in for a rude awakening where you're going to be in a bad way. I'm telling you. I can see it clear as day. And that, coupled with his already established personality of getting overzealous, he is going to be in a position, gets too comfortable, more importantly, gets too excited, is going to put himself out and get caught and knocked out by Ryan Garcia. That's the truth, because he thinks it's going to be easy to hurt him. I'm telling you, this is not just talk. Conor Benn really does believe Ryan Garcia is just going to quit if he lands a good shot against him. He's going to think it's going to be because of Rolly Romero, you're going to be able to do the same stuff. Ain't get the end of the case. Ryan Garcia was injured against Tank. Tank even admitted it when he was talking about in the post-press conference. Yeah, we knew he was hurt. Or one of the press conferences in that fight, either pre or post, he was like, yeah, we there's a mole in the camp. We know he's injured. He's got ribs busted up. We know exactly where to go. And that's exactly where Tank landed to get the knockout. That is not going to be where Ryan Garcia is right now. That fighter that was there, Ryan Garcia is not that fighter. The durability from a caliber of puncher as Conor Benn right now is significantly more than Conor Benn's going to think. And Conor Benn doesn't have the patience that you would want from a fighter to fight against Ryan Garcia. Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia is strictly a fight where Conor Benn is thinking too far ahead that everything is still what it was in the past. And that's not going to be the case. And he's going to get hurt. Hurt bad because of it. Ryan Garcia is the type of opponent now. Whatever tricks you may think you could have used against Ryan, you can't do that no more. And you're too angry for your own good. You're still hot-headed in the ring and outside the ring that you get overzealous where you take advantage too quickly of a situation that ain't there. You're explosive. You can close the distance. You can close the gap. Absolutely. But you do that so much and so antsy-like. Ryan Garcia's in the perfect position. Boom. Not just with the left hook, with the right straight, which now we see as an actual weapon. I'm going to put you out. It's a bad sign for Conor Ben that he's going to set himself up for failure thinking in this type of way. Because Ryan Garcia is not that guy that fought Tank. And not even the guy that fought Roland. Not now. And you are not the same guy that was at this division. Or relatively close to it. Because since you've been popping dirty, you don't got the power of Rolly or Tank. Or Barrios. Or anybody for that matter. You knocked out Eubanks, but Eubanks was weight drained immensely. Had no business being at 160 at that point in time. Well, 168, whatever the world his weight was. Looked like a bare bone skeleton. And in that first fight, when you were, again, fight of the year, the first fight, but when even still, you weren't able to rock him in the same way. Though you caught him a couple times. And we haven't seen you since that fight do something that has us incredibly enthralled. Again, you went life or death with Regis Prograis in a fight that should have been. If you could knock anybody out who was also injured, it would be him. It would be him. And so there's no business for you talking like this, because you ain't like that. And more importantly, and this is the biggest thing, you as a fighter cannot keep your patience enough. Here's why. The best performance I saw you have as a fighter, purely as a boxer, was in the second fight with Conor Ben. The second fight with Conor Ben versus Eubanks. You were patient. You were calm. You were waiting for openings. You were more responsible with how you jumped in and out of action. You used your explosiveness in a timely manner, not just in a belligerent manner. You scored with great punch placement. You kept your rhythm off kilter. You kept yourself on balance. And you never, while doing that, let your foot off the gas of aggression. But you were never overly putting the pedal to the metal. Chipping away. Straight jab into a straight right. Big jab, lunging jab. Reset, lunging jab again, now with the straight to the body. Reset. You were poised, calm, level-headed. You can't keep that whenever you fight against people. That was a one-time situation. I ain't seen you fight like that since. Or before. You can't keep that level of composure because that's not you. And you are easily ticked off. Unlike what we said with Devin Haney. You're the complete opposite. If somebody gets you going before the fight, you better believe you will go through and absolutely try to wreak havoc without question in the fight and change your whole game plan. I guarantee you. The only reason why you were more calm in the first fight was because of the fact that you went through and you did what? Fought him up before. Now you know what worked. Okay, now I know what to do. But initially, we know what Conor Ben is. If he's facing off against somebody for the first time, I'm going to go through and I'm going, boom, guns blazing. I got speed, I got explosiveness, I'm going to use it. And I'm going to try to take you out. And against a Ryan Garcia that is at this stage, Conor Ben is going to get knocked out with that type of mentality. I'm telling you, two negatives don't make a positive. And right now, Conor Ben's got a negative temper, a negative ability to keep his composure every fight unless you've already fought somebody before, and a negative mentality of what he thinks Ryan Garcia is today. All those things, brother, it's going to be a problem. This ain't multiplication. This is division. Oh no, this is addition. This ain't a positive, this ain't a negative times a negative times a negative. No, this is a negative plus a negative plus a negative. Only adds to the negativity. It's going to be an issue. Big time issue. When we see them be step in the ring, if this is how Conor Ben is thinking. Split already ticked off. They already had to jump. They already almost jumped the barricade going to get each other when they were in the what was it called? The press conference. And also, I see your question, Beats. Go. I'm about to pull up the odds right now for the fight. Let me just find this clip of Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn in their press conference before I go and pull up the odds outright for the fight. Because I do want to make sure I show you all exactly what the frustration between the two are. Where's it? Is this it? I think this is the clip. Yep, here it is. Yeah. Already, for the first jump. This is what he's already acting like. And after this, I'll pull up the odds for the fight to show you all exactly what exactly can happen. Let's see. Is there a rematch clause in the contract? To my knowledge, no. To my knowledge, no. There's no rematch clause to the fight itself. It's just simply whatever happens. Unless again, to my knowledge, there ain't no rematch clause. If there is one, it might not even get activated because Ryan Garcia could be looking at, well, I want Devin Haney next. I already fought Conor Benn on Zuffa. And if we are seeing Keyshawn Davis be fighting on Zuffa, or if we're seeing Devin Haney potentially have a close-knit fight that he might get a fight on Zuffa, Keyshawn Davis otherwise, I'll fight him there too, but I'll make that fight. And that's the most logical step to the big fight that we want to have if we don't get Devin Haney versus Shakur. So, there might not be one at all, because it could be after this, Ryan Garcia is looking ahead. We still want the other names. But let me play this clip of Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn going against each other and fighting. And is Ryan Garcia's belt on the line? That's a good question. I say yes, but with hesitancy. And I'll explain why after the clip. Let me play the clip and then I'll go through and we can talk about all that stuff, belt and otherwise. But here, viewer discretion advised, just so you all know, trying to be sponsorship friendly, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But hey, this is Conor Benn and Ryan Garcia going at each other in the first press conference for the fight in September.
Yeah, 12-round war proven. I don't quit. I don't stay down.
He's not going to make it to 12. There's not going to be a 12-round war. I promise you that.
I don't stay down on one knee.
Look at his hair, bro. He's looking for attention. Look at his hair. He's looking for attention. He ain't going to make it past 12. I promise you. This not be a 12-round war. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to beat me. You think this man's going to beat me? You think I'm going to let a guy from the UK come here and beat me and take my belt? You lost your mind.
Listen, Ryan. Calm down, you're having one of them little episodes. Calm down. I know you're getting all excited.
Again, bro,
I know you're getting all excited, but I'll come over there and smack them glasses straight off your face.
Crazy? I don't even understand shit he said.
I'll come over there and smack them glasses straight off your face. That's what I'll do. Sitting there.
You won't do shit. I promise you won't do shit. I promise you won't.
You won't do shit. You won't do shit. Who won't do shit? Who won't do shit? Who won't do shit? Who won't do shit? Yeah, who won't do shit? Who won't do shit?
I'm sorry. It's funny because it's exciting. And it's also funny because we expected this when it was going down. I even think we discussed if we got a fight between Conor Benn and Ryan Garcia roughly like 2 years ago, we were saying it would be one of the most interesting build-ups that we could make for a fight in all of boxing because what they would be saying to each other. It was either Ryan Garcia, Conor Benn, or Ryan Garcia or Tszyu. One of those two fights would be the fight that would be the most entertaining of everything that we could see on the night. But this is fitting as one of them. And this is, like I said, it's exciting. But I played that to play. One, it does seem like the belt's on the line. And two, you saw, yet again, the aggression and the over-anticipatory nature. Hey, you say something to me, I'll come smack you. Ryan said you ain't gonna do nothing, and it wasn't even like you won't do nothing. It was one request. You ain't gonna do nothing. Next thing you know, he's fighting through 3 security guards. I'm telling you, when we say the fight before the fight, stuff gets shown before they actually step into the ring. Not all the time, but many times it's true. And that's one of them. The overzealous nature of Conor Ben. To get goaded into something, unlike with Devin Haney. Goaded into a fight before the fight ever starts. That's what's happening. It's gonna be his downfall. If he does not get that same composure that he had in the second fight with Eubanks, I guarantee you, I promise you. Let me keep on reading your chats and responses. And so I guess the belt is on the line. And so the answer is yes, but I hesitated when I was answering at first. And the reason being is because the way that this is being propped up by Zuffa had me questioning what belt was or wasn't on the line. Because it seemed like with Zuffa Boxing, the way that they are promoting this fight has me really concerned that there ain't
But when you
it's got me concerned that this ain't gonna be for the Avalon WBC title, but it'll be for it'll be for the Zuffa welterweight title, because they're promoting it as the welterweight world championship, not necessarily the WBC welterweight championship.
Dana.
That is a significant distinction, because that is a distinction that shows a difference in what is on the line. If they try to, so yes, his belt's on the line, but it could also be Zuffa's own personal welterweight title is on the line. Or Zuffa just is outright not trying to acknowledge the WBC or any other sanctioning body at all. Yeah, they're working, and here's the post I was looking for when it came to them fighting. Where's it? Right here. Here's the poster of the fight in and of itself. And as you can see, it's not the WBC, it's the World Welterweight Championship. See, they still do not want to recognize the other sanctioning bodies at all. The goal is still to establish the Zuffa belt as a bigger belt than everybody else, except for the ring and lineal titles. They still don't value or respect the other sanctioning bodies. Now, to some extent, I understand why, but to another extent, they're trying to ice them out to make them obsolete, and you just can't do that. But they're trying by not even giving the WBC championship a actual title recognized name on their posters. All of this is slight stuff to show what Zuffa's trying to do. And yes, the belt's on the line. WBC title's on the line. Don't be surprised if they try to slide in their own title on Ryan Garcia's waist. Because be clear, in Zuffa, there's no champion at that division. And they'll try to make whoever wins this fight, specifically if it's Ryan Garcia, hold their title or hold something of them out for the world to see, to further establish the relevancy. It's going to be very interesting how exactly they go about this way of promoting the championship as the title and not something lesser than, when they clearly don't want to have any other fights for championships with sanctioning bodies because they don't value the other sanctioning bodies outright, except where they can make their own. But again, that's just me looking at the whole situation, knowing what we see with Zuffa and others dealing with this whole situation. Let me see. The fight's on Paramount and the Zone, though. It is. And again, it's because Ryan Garcia and his team was able to make a deal to get this fight going, where we can work with Zuffa, we can still fight for the belt and all that stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be on the Zone because I'm still signed with Was it Golden Boy or somebody? I can't remember. Like I said, I don't know all the logistics. I'm just telling you that's what's going down. That's what's happening. That's why stuff is happening. But I'm just telling you in the long term, they still, in terms of Zuffa, don't want to operate under or with the guise of holding hands with the enemy. They still want to be their own. Starts with little things that go into, especially with this whole Shakur Stevens situation, little things that translate into bigger and outright statements that ultimately leads into, okay, we can finally fully declare war because of where we are, who we are, and what we can do now with power, leverage, and names of people that people recognize and that want to be seen by the public. Just know it's still a part of the plan. It's slippery slope, but it's still part of the bigger plan of what Zuffa wants to do, good or bad. And it could be bad for the long term if we are not privy and careful with how this thing goes through. But either way, it's going to be on Paramount and DAZN. So if you can watch it, watch it. Feel free. Enjoy yourself. Have yourself a pint of Haagen-Dazs as you watch a war between two incredibly charismatic folks go at it and fight against each other. But with all that being said, we still want to make sure we cover the rest of the boxing globe and cover the rest of the sports landscape. So we're going to go and transition for the last 30 minutes or an hour into the show, into the championship rounds. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go through and have you all be seen and heard for the globe to see. And, where's the button? Where's the button? Where's the button? There we go. No. There we go. Okay, there we go. And now we can go and transition to the world of the rest of the show as we go on and go into where's the dang it, I'm losing my track of stuff. There we go. Championship rounds, 30 minutes to an hour on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. We want to hear from you in all regards and facets of life in the world of boxing and beyond, movie, sports, television, video games, the NBA, the NFL, all that and more. We want to discuss and hear from you all. As we're going through, we still got other fights that we can quickly delve into, like with Anthony Joshua's comeback against Faringa. That is indeed happening, I believe, this, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this week. Am I wrong? That's happening this week. It's either this week or next week. One of the two. But either way, Joshua versus Fury is still on the horizon, what we want ultimately. Joshua's getting his comeback fight against Faringa. Tyson Fury is getting his comeback fight against, is it Watch? Is it Watch or Watch? One of the two is how you say his last name. But the Tyson Fury fight won't be televised on public stations, just so you all know. It's a charity fight that's going to, I think it's going to count for its record, but it's a charity fight over in Thailand. You won't be able to find it, but you'll be able to have highlights of it on DAZN or wherever they post it afterwards. But the Faringa fight, you will be able to see, and everybody has been speculating on the trajectory of Anthony Joshua's comeback trail in light of the stress and the pitfalls of life that befalled him, and with the sad passing of his friends that took place earlier last year in a tragic car accident. Now, will he be able to be back to prime form? Last time we saw him out was against Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. Everybody got to see him knock out Jake Paul. It was easy work against Jake Paul. Cool, well and good, all fine and dandy. However, that is not an indictment, or rather, that's not indicative of exactly what Anthony Joshua can be in his real return to the ring as he looks for a championship opportunity one more time. Now against Faringa, we need to see how he's put that style of Usyk boxing into his own game plan. We saw a little bit of it against Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, ducking down, having a lot more movement with his upper body, being more active with feints, and having the wherewithal to make himself less predictable with the type of shots that he's throwing, while still adding to the forward aggression that we've known him to have for a number of years. Is the defense, though, better than it's ever been, or is it still a problem? We're not questioning the chin anymore, because we know it's always going to be a potential issue. We're not questioning whether or not, he can take a punch. That is irrelevant in the bigger landscape of conversation, because we've already established that's a concern. More than anything involving this fight when it comes to Anthony Joshua, how is he able to be as a well-rounded boxer again? This is the last stage of Anthony Joshua's career. As much as it is that, it's also the best opportunity to have Anthony Joshua be back to what he used to be. Well-rounded and the best all-around heavyweight that the world had to offer today. Fundamentals, good jab, top 3 level power, IQ, some of the best in the game, balanced in all accounts, can box and can brawl, power in either hands, and can carry that power and stamina late into the fight. He had it all. Has it all still, because he's only 36 years old. It's older, but it's still in the framework of he still has some of the best athletic ability that this whole heavyweight division has to offer. And Adonis is still what he is, even if he's slimmed down. That is still in his makeup as a fighter. What we don't know is still there, is the ability to put it together. The yin and yang of his game being one. Perfect harmony, perfect symmetry, everything working out as one. That's what Usyk is supposed to fix. And against Perenga, who, mind you, should be an opponent that he can beat with the greatest to beat, should be an opponent that we should see Anthony Joshua be able to knock out, hopefully, in dramatic fashion, in a similar way that we saw him knock out Robert Elenius. At the same breath, he would still need to be able to be at least on his P's and Q's and treat this fight like a championship fight. Because at this point in time, the next loss might just be it for Anthony Joshua. Especially since the biggest fight he's got left at this point in time is the fight with Tyson Fury. Perenga, 20-1, 20 KOs. Yes, 20-1 with 20 KOs. Every win that Perenga's had has been by KO. Not one win that he has had has gone the distance. No matter how good Perenga may be, which he is compared to Anthony Joshua, not great. He is indeed still an incredibly dangerous puncher. There needs to be a respect and authority shown by Anthony Joshua on this fight. That's what just to give us the confidence that what we've seen from Usyk in training with AJ, especially off the backs of what we just saw Usyk do against the likes of Rico Verhoeven, is not in vain. Because if he went to Usyk and this style isn't able to translate to get a win over a fighter that he should be able to dominate, it's going to be scary. It's going to be all this was for nothing. And that framework of his persona of we can believe in you once again, it's going to go by the wayside. It's going to go by the wayside. This should be a quote unquote easy fight. But let's not keep anything under wraps. This is a must win for Anthony Joshua. It is. It is. It is. Without a doubt. This is a must win. There is no win. There's no fight that we can have right now for AJ specifically that is okay. None whatsoever. With respect to everything he's been through, that doesn't change the reality. This is still a do or die situation. From this point into the end of his career, every fight that he is in is indeed a last-ditch effort. Because every fight that he loses is indeed a fight that if this is it, without remorse, you have no shot at the thing that you want. None. If he loses this fight, there's a good chance that Tyson Fury fight doesn't even happen. Why? Because we would see Tyson Fury potentially lose interest. I don't want to fight this buddy no more because look at what this dude beat him. Who is Paringa and Anthony Joshua's? Who is Paringa? If he could have beat him, Makhmudov could have beat him. And I beat Makhmudov. This fight is not worth my time. You should have took me on first. You should have stepped in the ring. Now, I can retire. Why? Because you are not worth my time anymore. Because look at who you just lost to. This big fight ain't a big fight no more. Tyson Fury could easily do that if we see that he loses to Paringa. Vice versa, also, if Fury loses in his fight over in Thailand, sure. Even though it's for charity. The point being, focusing on Anthony Joshua, this is do or die. Even if this is supposed to be a gimme fight for the likes of AJ, to show against a puncher, hey, I can still be what I need to be. But if he doesn't show it, ooh, buddy, oh my, we're going to have ourselves a real, I'm scared. Because that could be it. He'll be 29-5. And I respect people. Losses don't mean that you are outright terrible. But at this stage, losses for AJ will lose any semblance of comeback ability. Where he wants to be at this age in his career. And he can't afford that. And he knows he can't afford it. So, he's going to make sure he does everything he can. And I would hope so as well. But we just want to make sure we cover everything else in the boxing world. Let me go and check and see if anything has broken over the course of the landscape of boxing or sports world in general. And I don't think anything else has been able to go and change. Here's what I did want to say this. I did want to say this before we leave. I did want to say this. One last thing with Zuffa boxing in particular. Where's that? One last thing with boxing in particular. Specifically Zuffa. Currently right now, this is the amount of top tier talent that they have on their disposal. Not including Jai Bhatia and Shakur. Hitchens, Berlanga, and Hackett. Vaio, you can use him, sure. But this is their current landscape of names, specifically these two. There is going to be a real need to build Hitchens up, or Berlanga, specifically Hitchens, as the other quote-unquote homegrown big-time player in the game. He's not homegrown where he got there and he's always fought there. But in terms of at the start, under our domain, we built him up as a big-time player, big-time name, and a big-time force to be reckoned with. He's going to need that. He's going to need that. Zuffa's going to need that. Because the important thing that you need to understand about Zuffa, these are the caliber of names that they've been able to garner with one or two big-time players. Timothy Bradley saying everybody's going to sign with Zuffa. Eddie Hearn is saying Shakur and others have already signed. Cool. Zuffa boxing to succeed cannot be just top-heavy. It can't. If they are not able to make Hitchens, Berlanga, El Rayo, or a couple other people on that card higher up in the notoriety, even with getting the big-time names, is going to be still a crash and burn situation. Because I promise you, now that we see Zuffa paying money, and the other competitors know they're going to dish out money, you better believe the next cycle of contracts we see coming out, whether it's Shakur, whether it's Devin Haney, whether it's Hitchens, Berlanga, or others, or any other future potential stars, like Abdullah Mason, like Floyd Schofield, like all these other potential big-time names that are up and coming as youthful ages. They're going to throw a bag, big bags, to make sure they don't go over there. Zuffa's got to show they can make stars more than just already established names, be able to be worth big time amounts of money. By signing and keeping a roster that is, okay, this is where the big boys all come and play. But they're going to, by the next 2 years, when these contracts and multi-fight deals are up, watch for the amount of money that's going to be thrown at not just Berlanga and Hitchens, but anybody else that's a big-time player to make sure Zuffa doesn't get nobody after this. Because nobody believed they could get anybody in the first place. Now that they know, huge amounts of money. We're about to see how stingy or lack thereof Dana White can be with his cash. Because it's going to be tested. I guarantee you it's going to be tested. I promise you. Promise you. But with all that being said, just again, last food for thought before we go and get on out of here. We want to make sure that hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hopefully you enjoyed your time. Hopefully you enjoyed everything about what we had on today's episode. And we're going to wrap this show up, send it home, and get on out of here. So ladies and gentlemen, with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watch with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. Hopefully you had a phenomenal time. Hopefully you enjoyed everything that we said. And hopefully, even if you didn't agree, you had a great, fun, organic time here together on our show. Be back on Thursday, same time, same place, same channel, for more news in boxing and beyond. Also, be sure to leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and please be sure to go through, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. Be sure to join our empire and subscribe to go on and help us grow as a community and be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you name it. We are there. And please be sure to go ahead, if you can, support the channel to help us out. We got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, super chats and super gifts, stickers and super thanks, and all that stuff down in the chat section down below. If you can't afford to give to the channel, would mean the world to us, because hey, helps us to pay the bills, it helps us to go and edify the show, make it better for you all to witness and enjoy, because we're like PBS, we can't do this without viewers like you. So please be safe, have a bunch of fun. We're gonna get on out of here and enjoy the rest of your day. Be sure to come back on Thursday, and be sure to be here for all the more news and topics and debates and discussion in the world of boxing and beyond right here on The Welch Report. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. Be safe, be blessed. Peace and love. Oh, we are out of here. Yes, sir. Salute to you. We can't wait to see you all on Thursday. Have a great afternoon, and we are out of here.